Alright guys, this is going to be our first demo for Revit. We're going to be covering just the interface and some interactions with it, some places people get stuck from time to time, and some helpful hints and tips and things. So, this is the main screen. If I had previously been working on something before, I would have open a list of optional files I could open here. In my case, we just do have open. Um, for us, we're going to go ahead and hit new, and it's going to open up this option right here. We choose our template file first, and you guys probably have a different set of options by default right there. But if you click this browse, it's going to give us a couple different templates. For this class, just choose this default one right here. The templates have different settings, different filters, and a couple different things. I want to keep it consistent for this class and make sure we're all starting on the default template so I don't look around at your computer and go, why are you missing this? Or you've got one of the ones that has a bunch of top of and bottom of footings, layers that we don't necessarily need and could get confusing. So just to reduce issues, make sure you just choose this default one. Also, do not switch to project template. Keep working as a project. There are issues when you start working as a project template that can arise, and we've had problems with in the past. So just do default and project. I'll hit OK. And this is our main screen. Um, Real quick, a couple issues that we've had in the past. I don't know what does it, but if sometimes your menu turns to looking like this, I don't know if people are accidentally clicking on this arrow or there's a shortcut key somewhere. Um, but if your menu looks like that, or like that, or like that, you can click this little arrow right here and it will cycle through those different options. And eventually you'll get back to where you want to be right there so that we can see the context sensitive ribbon up here. Another issue that sometimes happens is people accidentally click on these two options right here, or one or the other, and they'll close their project browser or their properties bar. To fix that, you'll click on the view right here, go to user interface, and then you can check your project browser and your properties back on. So if you ever lose one of those, that's how you get it back on right there. Okay. Um, So this is your main window. This is where you're going to be doing all of your editing. If you have multiple levels open, you'll have multiple tabs here that you can jump back and forth. And we'll get a little bit more of that in a minute. What we're going to talk about now is the context sensitive bar up here. So as you choose different options at the top here, these are all going to change. What they display as sort of menus. When you open a tool, you'll also get the modify bar. So if I click on the wall right there, we get this modify place wall tool. And this is going to give us different options for how we can place walls. So by default lines, or we can change it to rectangles. We can do multi-sided shapes. In here, in this bar below it, you can see that we've got the modify place wall tool. We can change some of these settings. We'll get into what these are later. And then right here we have sides, so the number of sides that we want to, place with this. We could change this to 9, and now we've got a 9-sided shape there. So again, we'll kind of dig a little bit more into this area later, but for now, just recognize that there's a modify area here, and then customizing whatever tool you're on. To get out of that, just hit escape, and it'll back you out of that. There's another type of modify panel that you'll run into, or at least a analogous system. For things like when we're placing floors, you can see that instead of what I had before, there's now a green check mark and a red X here. And if I hit escape, nothing happens. I'm kind of stuck in here. And you can tell it's in that state because if I go back here to architecture, these are all grayed out. So if you want to get out of that, either finish what you were doing or click the red X just to get out and it reverts to whatever it was before. Okay, so I'm gonna place down a wall here and just so we've got something to compare to. So we're gonna talk about this properties panel right here. So it operates on basically whatever kind of object you are working with. Right now, because I've clicked on the background and I don't have anything selected, it's gonna default to what this is, which is a floor plan view. If I select anything in here, it's gonna change what it's showing here. So it says now I've selected an elevation. In this case, I have a building elevation selected. Here I have a wall selected. So it's going to change what's shown here based on what you have selected. If you have multiples selected, it's going to do that. If I have multiple building elevations, it's going to continue to, highlight the fact that I have just building elevations selected. You can change the type of thing. So if we have a wall here, clicking on this box right here will give us all the different types of walls we can choose from. There's certain types, for example, if we were to put a door in this wall, we can then choose different doors that are loaded into the model. So you'll be bouncing around between this box a lot, working on selecting things and choosing them, changing them through here. Uh, Additionally, there's different options that we have here, and we'll get into the edit type button right here in the next video, but it opens up different menus so that we can edit whatever the type of thing is that we have selected. Um, and again, we'll get more into this later, but just for now, recognize that you can scroll down. This box is usually a lot longer than it's shown, and it has all these sub menus here which you can collapse or uncollapse as you need to. For the project browser, that's going to be this, and this is how we navigate what we've got in our document. So right in here, you can see I can jump between level 1 and level 2. I can also double click on it and go to our ceiling plans. Technically, we don't really have anything here, so there's not much to see. Our template also gives us elevations that we can jump between. So elevations for east, north, south, and west. If we had sheets, we could go to the sheets down here and we'd be able to navigate through those as well. If we have schedules and different things, we can navigate through here as well. We don't currently, it's kind of empty, but we'll see it as we get through here. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, section cuts, 3D views will also appear here. So if we go to place a section cut, so once I place a section cut there, we now have sections appearing here. If I go to 3D view and generate a new 3D view, I now have 3D views here. So things will add themselves into the views section here as we start adding them to the document. As far as movement in the spaces, you've got your middle mouse, that's going to let you pan. Mouse wheel is going to let you zoom. In the 3D view, middle mouse is also going to let you pan, and then holding down shift is going to, while you use the middle mouse, is going to let you rotate the view, and then we can still use the mouse wheel to zoom. In 3D view, we also have this 3D compass. You can click on different things and it will snap around to various angles, so that you can kind of jump to something specific if you're looking for that. So that's kind of a nice handy feature right there. Okay, Windows tabs and tiles. So right now I've now opened several windows here. So we have different options as far as how we can view those and stack them up. So I have an option here for tile views, and it'll show me all the different tabs that we've got open. I can mix and match some of these. I can delete some, or I can close some of them. Don't delete them. Um, and you can see as I kind of get rid of some of these, I now have spaces where some are bigger or smaller. If I remove that, I can click and drag on here and change the size. If we have, let's say I've got two areas that I'm working on. So I'm using let me just get this set up real quick. So let's say I'm working on this right here. So I've got one level view here, and then I've got the same thing displayed from the elevation view on this other window. With this, I can actually select things, and you can see that as I selected that, this got highlighted in that view, so I can detect what I'm working on. Pretty handy for kind of navigating complex areas. And then additionally, you can see I've got a couple extra windows open right here. If I click on close and active, it will close all of these extra ones that I don't currently have selected. Um, Towards the end of the semester, when you start having a whole bunch of tabs open, the computers can slow down a little bit. So that comes in handy if you're working on something like that. And then, of course, I can just drag these around and get them to snap to respective areas within the window here. So if I want to do just two windows up, or if I want to get another one like here, and then I can move this to share that area and kind of view things from different or multiple angles. So pretty neat that it can do that. It comes in handy several times throughout the semester. All right. One other thing that's kind of handy is when you have certain elements, and we'll start recognizing them, and I'll highlight them as we come across them, is go to view. So right here I have this elevation arrow selected. If I right click on this, I can choose go to elevation view, and it'll jump me to that elevation view. Um, Something I haven't pointed that out in the past, but I just wanted you guys to know that. Um, while we're in here, we have a couple options down in this bar as well. So this is setting the scale of the drawing. That becomes important when we do start moving or creating sheets and moving things to those sheets. So we would just click on this and then choose the scale that this drawing will come in. And we'll get deeper into some of those settings as well later on. Let me get back to here. We also have some other settings. So one thing I like to do is make sure I have view and thin lines turned on. If you have the not thin lines, I guess, turned on, all the walls kind of appear kind of chunky and blocky like that. If this wall, let me change this. Oh, that'll work, yeah. So I have a wall that's got multiple layers set up on it. If I have it selected and I change this to fine, you can now see the different layers that make up the wall, and you'll see what this looks like and why it looks like that better. But just understand that this is the outside of the wall, and then this should be it anyway. Oh, maybe it's not. I must have it backwards. Yeah, that's the outside over here. Not sure what kind of. Oh, it's just an interior wall, so they double stack that side. Okay. Um, so yeah, you can see and sometimes you can diagnose issues with some of the more complex walls, like that one where it's got different things going on. Right here we have the rendering options for it, so you can choose how it's displayed with textures even, so you can see, okay, this is brick, this is some kind of wood, and then I think that's concrete inside of there. One recommendation that I have for you guys is don't use realistic. Stay away from this. You can see that my computer is now spinning a little bit there. And on a larger project, it basically tries to render it, low quality render, but a render nonetheless. I had one semester where I almost failed a student because I couldn't load her Revit. It took 45 minutes for me to open her Revit page because she left it saved on a page with 4 drawings that took apparently that long to render before it would allow me to get into Revit to start looking at her project. So stay away from realistic. Stick with shaded, consistent colors or textures. I'll be working on hidden line a lot, and sometimes I will use wireframe to look into certain things. But the middle section here should kind of be your main work area. And then the last thing we're going to cover is hidden. So as you're working, there are things you're going to want to hide. So let me go here. So for example, if I just want to hide that right there, I can do hide in view, elements, and now that's hidden in this view. If I go to level 2 right here, so level 1, level 2, we can select this one and see that here in level 2, that same element is still selected, which means these are all the same things from level 1 just shown in level 2, but this is visible here in level 2. This the marker right there. Anytime that you hide something, it now shows up if you click on this little light bulb here. It says reveal hidden elements, and then it's going to show us things that are in this view that are hidden. From here, we can select the things that are hidden and choose unhide element. That's useful for if you're working on things like you've built a roof and a ceiling and you need to work inside of the house. You can hide elements and access things inside the house without having to delete or do weird filtering. Okay, so that kind of covers a lot of the basics and navigation and interactions with Revit. So we'll close this demo out and we'll come back and we will do the walls demo.